Today's class we will be doing additional problems on root locus. A negative feedback system has an open loop transfer function g of s h of s is equal to k divided by s into s plus 2 s plus 3 into s square plus 2s plus 2. Sketch the root locus plot for k varying from 0 to infinity. Also find the value of k for damping ratio zeta equal to 0.5. Also find the value of k for a damping ratio zeta equal to 0.5. Examination standard problem. Normally this problem will ask for anything between 10 to 12 marks. So step 1, solution. Read the problem. A negative feedback system has an open loop transfer function g of s h of s is equal to k divided by s into s plus 3 divided by s square plus 2s plus 2. Sketch the root locus plot for k varying from 0 to infinity. Also find the value of k for a damping ratio zeta equal to 0.5. Step 1. Plot poles and zeros of g of s h of s on the s plane. Roots of the denominator polynomial are called poles. So poles are s is equal to 0, s plus 3 equal to 0 gives you s is equal to minus 3, s square plus 2s plus 2 equal to 0 gives you s is equal to minus 1 plus minus j1. So I am going to mark the poles and zeros on the s plane. S plane is a complex plane having real axis sigma, imaginary axis j omega. So we will take 1:2 scale. That means pole is at the origin. Correct. We have got two complex poles. So real part is minus 1, imaginary part is j1. This is j1. Real part is minus 1. This is the other pole. This is the other pole. This pole is minus 1 plus j1. This pole is minus 1 minus j1. We take 1:2 scale. This is j1, This is j1 and this is minus j1. 1:2 scale. That means 2 centimeters have been taken to plot minus 1. Next minus 3. Minus 3 means 6 centimeters. This is minus 1, this is minus 2, this is minus 3. 1:2 scale is taken. Where poles are there, you mark k is equal to 0. Where poles are there, you mark k is equal to 0. take one graph sheet. This has to be done on the graph sheet. Please remember this. You have to take one. We have taken 1:2 scale. 1:2 scale. Anything that you have to enter, see -3 if you have to enter here, you have to multiply by 2 and enter. Anything you read from this diagram should be divided by 2. Anything you enter should be multiplied by 2. Anything you take out from this figure has to be divided by 2. Please keep this in mind. Now, second step. K is equal to 0 points are. K is equal to 0 points are. S is equal to 0. -1 plus J1. -1 minus J1, comma -3. All pole locations refer to K equal to 0 points. Please note there are no finite zeros. Because there is no polynomial of s in the numerator of the transfer function. What is the transfer function? K divided by s into s plus 3 into s square plus 2s plus 2. This is the transfer function. There are no finite zeros, but number of zeros must be equal to number of poles. Therefore, there are 4 zeros at infinity. They are called infinite zeros. K equal to infinity points are s is equal to infinity. This means there are 4 zeros at infinity. Step number 3. A branch of the root locus. RL means root locus. Starts on a pole. Pole means K equal to 0 and ends on a 0. 0 means K equal to infinity. A branch of the root locus starts on a pole. Pole means K equal to 0 and ends on a 0. 0 means K equal to infinity. Fourth one, number of branches. Branches are also called loci. Number of branches of the root locus equals P or Z, comma, whichever is greater. P stands for number of finite poles. Z stands for number of finite zeros. How many finite poles are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are no finite zeros. That means P is 4, Z is 0. Therefore, number of branches of the root locus is equal to 4. There are 4 branches of the root locus. Next step. A point on the real axis will lie on the root locus. A point on the real axis will lie on the root locus if number of poles plus zeros to the right of this point. The right of this point are odd. A point on the real axis will lie on the root locus if number of poles plus zeros equals number of poles plus zeros to the right of this point are odd. A point on the real axis will lie on the root locus if number of poles plus zeros to the right of this point are odd. Let me take this point, see to the right of this point, you have got one pole and there are no zeros. So 1 plus 0 is 1. You see to the right of the pen, there are 3 poles and no zeros. 3 plus 0, 0. You take here, see to the right, there are 4 poles, no zeros. To the right of this point, to the right of this pole, number of poles plus zeros equals an even number. Between these 2 poles, you take any point and see to the right of that point, number of poles plus zeros equals always an odd number. So this is the real axis locus. This aspect I have told in the previous problems also. You take a point on the real axis, look to the right of this point. If number of poles plus zeros equals an odd number, the right of that point, root locus will exist or will lie. Next is number of asymptotes. Sixth step, number of asymptotes. Number of asymptotes is equal to P minus Z. P is 4, Z is 0. So number of asymptotes 4. Next, let me calculate the centroid. What is sigma A? Sigma A is equal to summation finite poles minus summation finite zeros divided by P minus Z. Add all pole locations. So 0, minus 1 plus J1, minus 1 minus J1 minus 3. There are no zeros. Divided by P is 4, Z is 0. So you get minus 5 by 4. Minus 5 by 4 means minus 1.25. Minus 1.25. Minus 1.25 multiplied by 2. You get what? You get minus 1.25. You multiply by 2. You get what? If you multiply 1.25 by 2, you get 2.5. 2.5 to 1 division 2. 2.5 is here. Okay, this is sigma A. Sigma A is equal to minus 2.5. 2.5 divisions because the scale is 1:2. If you take 1:1 scale, figure will be very small. If you want, you can take 1:3 scale also. In that case, you have to multiply 1.25 by 3. That will give so many centimeters on the real axis. Okay. Every division on the real axis as well as the imaginary axis is 1 centimeter. So 1.25, if you multiply by 2, you get how many centimeters? 2.5 centimeters. Therefore, this represents 2.5 divisions. Phi A, what is phi A? Phi A is equal to 2q plus 1 into 180 degrees divided by P minus Z. Q takes values 0, 1, 2, 3. P is 4 here, Z is 0. Correct? Q is equal to 0 gives phi A is equal to 180 degrees divided by 4 minus 0 is equal to 45 degrees. Q is equal to 1 implies phi A is equal to 3 into 180 degrees divided by 4 minus 0 is equal to 135 degrees. Q is equal to 2 implies phi A is equal to 5 into 180 degrees by 4 minus 0 is equal to 225 degrees. Q is equal to 3 implies phi A is equal to 7 into 180 degrees divided by 4 minus 0 is equal to 315 degrees. 315 degrees or minus 45 degrees. So I draw 4 asymptotes. All 4 asymptotes must be coincident at sigma A. Means they must start at sigma A. This is 2.5. This is asymptote number 1. Where it is crossing, asymptote is crossing at J 1.25. J 1.25. Opposite side is 1.25. Adjacent side is 1.25. Tan of 1.25 means this line makes an angle of 45 degrees. This angle is 45 degrees. Similarly, if you produce this line backwards, you get asymptote number 3. What is the angle made by this asymptote? The angle made by this asymptote will be 225 degrees. That means this angle will be 225 degrees. Writing so many things on the board will make it very cumbersome. This line makes an angle of 225 degrees with respect to negative real axis. Next, I will draw asymptote number 4. It makes an angle of minus 45 degrees. This is asymptote number 4. What is where it is crossing? It is crossing at minus j 1.25. If you produce this backwards, you get asymptote number 2. The asymptote angles I will show separately here for your understanding. This is sigma, this is j omega, this is S plane. This is sigma A. So these are the 4 asymptotes. What is sigma A? Sigma A is equal to, sigma A is 1.25. This is 1.25. Sigma is 1.25. 1.25 means 2.5 centimeters, right? So please correct that. Sigma A is minus 1.25. This is asymptote number 1. What angle it makes? It makes an angle of 45 degrees. This is asymptote number 2. What angle it makes? It makes an angle of 135 degrees. This is asymptote number 3. What angle it makes? It makes an angle of 225 degrees. Angles measured in the anti-clockwise direction are positive. This is asymptote number 4. What angle it makes? It makes an angle of minus 45 degrees in the clockwise direction. On the anti-clockwise direction, 315 degrees. Okay, this is how the asymptotes are plotted. Next step. A root locus is always symmetrical with respect to real axis. A root locus is always symmetrical with respect to real axis. Next step, to find breakaway points. The system characteristic equation is 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0. This implies 1 plus k divided by s into s plus 3 into s square plus 2s plus 2 equal to 0. This implies s square plus 3s into s square plus 2s plus 2 plus k equal to 0. Remove the brackets. You get s to the power 4 plus 2s cube plus 2s square plus 3s cube plus 6s square plus 6s plus k equal to 0. This implies s to the power 4 plus 2 plus 3 5s cube plus 8s square plus 6s plus k equal to 0. Okay. This implies k is equal to what? This implies k is equal to minus s to the power 4 minus 5s cube minus 8s square minus 6s. This in turn implies dk by ds. This implies dk by ds. Okay, I'll write one sentence. Breakaway points are found using the condition dk by ds equal to 0. Breakaway points are found using the condition dk by ds equal to 0. So this is k is what? Minus s to the power 4 minus 5s cube minus 8s square minus 6s equal to 0. dk by ds equal to 0 implies, differentiate this, minus 4s cube plus 15s square plus 16s plus 6 equal to 0. This implies 4s cube plus 15s square plus 16s plus 6 is equal to 0. Using calculator find the roots. Using calculator find the roots. The roots are s is equal to minus 2.29 comma minus 0.73 plus minus j 0.35. I have calculated and kept it ready for my reference. Using calculator solve this cubic equation. These are the 4 roots you get. Sorry, these are the 3 roots you get. 1 real root and 2 complex conjugate roots. Find the values of k at s is equal to minus 2.29. This is the equation connecting k and s. In this equation, put s is equal to minus 2.29. You will get the answer. 4.33. In this equation, put s is equal to minus 2.29. You will get k is equal to 4.33. In the same expression, put s is equal to minus 0.73 plus j 0.35. You will get the answer. 1.75 minus j 0.176. In this equation, put this complex value of s minus 0.73 plus j 0.35. In the same expression, put s is equal to minus 0.73 minus j 0.35. You get the value 1.75 plus j 0.176. So, please note that only one value of k is real and positive. Therefore, the only breakaway point is s is equal to minus 2.29. Right? The value of k at a breakaway point should be real and positive. Hence, the only breakaway point is s is equal to minus 2.29. The characteristic equation right here and keep it for my reference. S to the power 4 plus 5s cube plus 8s square plus 6s plus k equal to 0 is the characteristic equation. The value of k at a breakaway point should be real and positive. Hence, s is equal to minus 2.29 is the only breakaway point. The breakaway point is, I'll write down here, the breakaway point is, BAP is the abbreviation, breakaway point is s is equal to minus 2.29, value of k at the breakaway point is 4.33. Minus 2.29 approximately take it as minus 2.3. So minus 2.3 into 2 is what? Is 4.6. So 4.6 divisions. This is 1 division, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. This is 4.6 divisions. Correct. This point is the breakaway point. What is the breakaway point? S is equal to minus 2.29. Value of k at the breakaway point is 4.33. 4.33. 1 division, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4.6. 4.6 divisions. Since we have got complex poles, we have to calculate the angle of departure. Next, to find Step number 9, I think, to find angle of departure. To find angle of departure of the complex poles. Of the complex poles. Write the pole zero diagram. This is sigma axis, this is j omega axis. Mark poles and zeros, this is -3. These are the two complex poles. Real axis -1, imaginary content plus j1 and minus j1. Draw vectors to this pole whose angle of departure we have to find. So these are the vectors. Draw vectors to this pole whose angle of departure we have to find. So this angle is phi p1, this angle is phi p2, this angle is phi p3. Phi p2 is what? 180 degrees. Okay, we will calculate what is that phi p1, phi p2. What is phi p1? We will write here. What is phi p1? Phi p1 is 90 degrees. What is phi p2? Tan inverse, this is 1. This is 1, this is 1. Therefore, this angle is 45 degrees. So, it is 180 degrees minus tan inverse of opposite side is 1, adjacent side is 1. So, you get 135 degrees. What is phi p3? Tan inverse of what is opposite side? 1. What is adjacent side 2? Tan inverse of half. It means 26.1 degrees. 26.56 degrees. 26.56 degrees. Using calculator you find what is tan inverse of half. How did you get half? Opposite side is 1, adjacent side is 2. So tan inverse of half. So what is the formula for angle of departure? Angle of departure of the pole at S is equal to -1 plus j1 is equal to 180 degrees. This is the formula. Sigma angle made by poles minus sigma angle made by zeros. So this is 180 degrees. Angle made by poles means phi p1 plus phi p2 plus phi p3. There are no zeros. Substitute the values of phi p1, phi p2, phi p3 and calculate. The answer is minus 71.56 degrees. 71.56 degrees. Angle of departure of the pole at S is equal to -1 minus j1 will be plus 71.56 degrees. So angle of departure calculations must be done only when we have complex conjugate poles. So next step is step numbers. Please see, sometimes it may not be in the order, please check it. Step number 10, to find intersection points, on j omega axis and the range of k for closed loop stability. Closed loop stability. To find the intersection points on the j omega axis and the range of k for closed loop stability. The system characteristic equation is s to the power 4 plus 5s cube plus 8s square plus 6s plus k equal to 0. Letting s equal to j omega gives j to the power 4 is 1. So you get omega to the power 4. J cube is minus j. So j to the power 4 is j to the power 4 is 1. J cube is minus j. J square is minus 1. You must know these values. So minus 5j omega cube minus 8 omega square plus 6j omega plus k is equal to 0. Collect real and imaginary parts separately. Omega to the power 4 minus 8 omega square plus k plus j times 6 omega minus 5 omega cube is equal to 0 plus j0. Equating real and imaginary parts. Equating real and imaginary parts on both sides. On both sides we get omega to the power 4 minus 8 omega square plus k equal to 0, equation 1, and omega into 6 minus 5 omega square equal to 0 is equation 2. Since omega cannot be 0 other than at the origin, correct? Since omega cannot be 0, 6 minus 5 omega square equal to 0. This gives you omega is equal to plus minus 1.1 radians per second. Next, from equation 1, k is equal to what? K is equal to minus omega to the power 4 plus 8 omega square evaluated at omega equal to plus minus 1.1. That gives you the value 8.22. That gives you the value 8.22. Now we can draw the root locus. See, the intersection point on the j omega axis is 1.1. This is the intersection point. So you see, these two poles place what? Poles on the real axis. These two poles move towards each other. They meet at a point. Then they will leave the real axis symmetrically. For example, I'll draw the figure and then explain it to you. That will be better. Let us assume that this pole at minus 3 goes parallel to asymptote 2 and goes towards the zero at infinity. K is increasing the direction of the arrow. So this is the branch starting at minus 3 and going to infinity parallel to the asymptote as2. This is one branch. Then this pole takes asymptote as3 and goes towards k tending to infinity. So how many branches we have covered now? 2 branches. The other 2 branches are complex branches. This pole will follow asymptote as1, no option. This pole has to follow asymptote as4. So this is the figure. Please watch. This is the figure. This is going towards k equal to infinity. This is the angle of departure. What is the angle of departure? Angle of departure, this point where it is crossing is this point where the asymptote, where the root locus is crossing is j 1.1. What is the value of k there? The value of k there is 8.22. Value of k is 8.22. This is the angle of departure. Angle of departure is minus 71.56 degrees. So I will write here, this is minus 71.56 degrees. This is going towards k tending to infinity. This is the angle of departure. What is angle of departure? This angle of departure is plus 71.56 degrees. Where it is cutting the imaginary axis, where the root locus is cutting the imaginary axis. By symmetry, this is j 1.1 minus j 1.1. Value of k is 8.22. So this is the complete root locus. So I will trace the branches. There are 4 branches. You see, this could be branch number 1, starting on the pole at minus 3 and going along as2. This is the other branch, starting on this pole and going along asymptote as3. right? This pole has got option either to select asymptote 2 or asymptote 3. What I mean by that is this pole can go this way. Then this pole can go along asymptote AS2. This pole can choose either AS2 or AS3. Similarly, this pole also has got option to choose AS2 or AS3. If this pole chooses AS2, this pole will choose AS3. If this pole chooses AS3, then this pole shall choose asymptote AS2. But these two poles have got no option. They have to select either asymptote. They have to select compulsorily. This pole has to select compulsorily AS1 and this pole has to select compulsorily AS4. The angle of departure, how to draw angle of departure? Let us say this is the pole. Draw a line at minus 71.56 degrees. Take the branch along that line and then take it parallel to the asymptote. That is how it is drawn. In the previous problem also I have explained. So this is the complete problem. For closed loop system to be stable, root locus must be confined only to real axis. As k varies from 0 to 8.22, root locus is confined to confined to left hand side of the S plane. Therefore, for closed loop stability, k should be greater than 0, less than 8.22. I am going to write that. I am going to write that. For a closed loop control system, to be stable, k should be greater than 0, less than 8.22. That means for these values of k, root locus is confined to the left hand side of the S plane. Note, for k greater than 0, less than 8.22, root locus stays on the left hand side of the S plane. Say there is a condition on k. This system is said to be conditionally stable system. Next we have to find the value of k for a damping ratio is equal to 0.5. So this is a graphical procedure. What we'll do is, from the origin we'll draw a line making an angle. From the origin we'll draw a line making an angle equal to 60 degrees. How did we get theta? So I am going to write from the origin. Please see the procedure. From the origin, draw a line making an angle phi is equal to cos inverse of zeta. What is zeta? Zeta is 0.5 equal to 60 degrees. From the origin, draw a line making an angle phi is equal to cos inverse of zeta is equal to 60 degrees with respect to negative real axis. And that is, this is the line. This line is drawn for zeta equal to 0.5. What is the angle made by this line? The angle made by this line is 60 degrees. Let this line intersect the root locus at the point S1. Let this line intersect the root locus at the point S1 from various poles and zeros. Draw vectors to the point S1 and measure their magnitudes and measure their magnitudes. What I mean is, from this pole draw a vector to point S1. The magnitude of that vector is A. This vector is A. From this pole draw a vector to point S1. Magnitude of this vector is B. From this pole draw a vector to point S1. Magnitude of this vector is C. From this pole draw a vector to point S1. Magnitude of this vector is D. So there are four vectors. From this pole to point S1, the magnitude of the vector is A. From this pole to point S1, the magnitude of the vector is B. From this pole to point S1, the magnitude of the vector is C. From this pole to point S1, the magnitude of the vector is D. Measure the correct measure their magnitudes. So we have say this is a graphical method. So in the book that I have written, the values of A, B, C, D are found as, I'll just write here for your inference. Please cross check. A is 0.8266. How did you get A is equal to 0.8266? Take a scale, measure this distance and divide that distance by 2. Measure this distance from origin to point S1 and divide the distance by 2 because the scale is 1:2. B is 0.625. B is equal to 0.625. How did you get B is equal to 0.625? Take a scale, measure the distance from this pole to point S1 and that distance you divide by 2. So you get 0.625. Then C is 2.6613. How did you get C? With the help of the scale, measure the distance from this pole to point S1 and divide the distance by 2. Why you divide by 2? Because the scale is 1:2. Then D is the distance from this pole to point S1. Measure the distance with the help of a scale and divide that by 2. So you get the value as 1.77. Now we have to find the value of K that will give zeta is equal to 0.5. On the root locus, magnitude of GH of S is equal to 1. This implies modulus of K divided by S into S plus 3, S plus 1 plus J1 into S plus 1 minus J1. Please note, S plus 1 plus J1 into S plus 1 minus J1 will give you S square plus 2S plus 2. This magnitude at S is equal to S1 should be equal to 1. On the root locus, modulus of G of S, H of S is equal to 1. So substitute S is equal to S1 and cross multiply. This implies mod K. Mod K is same as K because K is always positive. Mod K is equal to modulus of S1 into modulus of S1 plus 1 minus J1 into modulus of S1 plus 1 plus J1 into modulus of S1 plus 3. Modulus of S1 is A. Magnitude of the vector S1 is A. This is the vector S1. What is this vector? This vector is S1 minus of minus 1 minus J1, which gives you S1 plus 1 plus J1. See, I'll just explain here. Sigma j omega. This is the point S1. This is the vector S1. Correct? This is the pole minus 3. This is the vector S1 plus 3. How did you get final point minus initial point? This is the complex pole which is at minus 1 minus J1. So what is this vector? This vector is nothing but S1 plus 1 plus J1. We have got another complex pole over here. Correct. What is this? What is this vector? This vector is, this pole is at minus 1 plus J1. This vector is S plus 1 minus J1. Correct? Magnitude of this vector is what? A. Magnitude of this vector is what? B. Magnitude of this vector is C. Magnitude of this vector is D. So here the figure is very cumbersome, therefore written separately to show the vectors and their magnitudes. All these small figures I write for your understanding. In the examination, only this figure is sufficient. So A, magnitude of S1 is A, magnitude of this is what? Magnitude of this is B, magnitude of this is what? Is D, magnitude of S1 plus 3 is C. So what is A? A is 0.8266. What is B? B is 0.625. What is D? D is 1.77. What is C? 2.6613. All four, if you multiply, the answer you are going to get is 2.4336. This is the value of K. See, what is the value of K here? Value of K at this pole is 0. Value of K at this intersection point is 8.22. The value of K at point S1, is 2.4336. The answer seems to be alright because in the direction of the arrow K is increasing. So here K is 0, here K is 8.22. What value I've got? 2.4336 is between 0 and 8.22. So answer looks to be seemingly alright. Okay. So this is a complicated problem, but asked several times in the examination. This problem has to be drawn on a graph sheet. If you have any difficulty, you please contact me. Correct? There is no point contacting me unless you practice it. You take a graph sheet, work out. Look at the complexity of the problem. It has 4 branches. In the examination, what you will see, how many K equal to 0 points are there? There are 4 K equal to 0 points. There should be 4 K tending to infinity points. Correct? Whenever a pole meets the 0 at infinity, it will always go parallel to the asymptotes. These two poles can select either asymptote AS2 or AS3. These two complex conjugate poles have no option. This complex pole has to select AS1. This complex pole has to select AS4. With this we conclude the problem. In the next class, we'll do some more problems. Thank you.